A quick disclaimer. The majority of the recorded footage includes audio from both players playing, but not all of it does. There is definitely an inconsistency when it comes to game audio and the voices heard throughout this video. Thank you. The earliest video game I ever played seriously was The Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker. I borrowed it from my uncle after buying a Gamecube from my neighbor for 20 bucks. I was ecstatic, and my dad sat down with me to play it. He fought Goma for us, and couldn't beat Evan-Amos, but guess who could? Me. Suddenly, I was the one in control almost all of the time. I even beat the game and was watching the credits right when he came home from work. Since then, I've loved video games, especially playing them with other people. Single-player games with my dad evolved to couch co-op with my cousin and friends to online multiplayer with all. So, when I was watching the EA E3 conference and saw A Way Out, I was like, "Whoa! That looks cool as fuck!" and then totally forgot about it. Then, A Way Out was suddenly only $9 on the PlayStation Store, and within moments, my friend Jordan and I were now transformed completely in terms of mind, body, and soul into Leo Caruso and Vincent Moretti, respectively. Unlike the Dead by Daylight video, I'll be going through the story here and critique/praise along the way as, this game actually relies on a story. It's 1972. Vietnam is going on, Nixon is about to take on his second term, and Vincent Moretti is being institutionalized for murder, embezzlement, and fraud. Little does he know that Leo Caruso has taken an interest in him. The two work together to escape prison and take revenge on a criminal boss that has done both of them wrong, Harvey. They get to bond over the course of the game, bantering and such. It's pretty by the numbers. And there are 5 chapters: Escape, Fugitives, Preparation, Vengeance, and Conflict. We'll go through them all one by one. Escape, or the prison, has to be my second least favorite. It's basically just a worse Shawshank Redemption, whether or not it's trying to pay homage. It sucks. Leo expects to escape the prison with only a chisel, somehow being uncaught as they make their way out of the prison, always stopping at certain points to figure out what they need next, and talking at normal voice levels, damaging property to the point where you think someone might get at least a little suspicious. And there is no central bad guy here either. The bad inmate is killed within the first 15 minutes, and the warden and guards are given no personality. A Way Out shows early how weak it is with very linear sections that can be solved quickly and easily. Quick time events, bad dialogue,
I am interested.
and cutscenes. Oh God, the cutscenes. We all enjoy a good cinematic, right? It's a little movie segment in a game for the player to lay back and take a breather. They can be pretty damn cool. Well, Joseph Fares decided to throw breathers in at every possible moment, as if you're choking on something and he never took a CPR class, and he just decides that inflating the lungs to the point of collapse is a good idea. And they're a requirement. There is no skipping. Thus, replaying this game is a slog, just like the prison section. It has a few memorable moments, such as the first somewhat open section with the yard, the thunder door matching, and the scaling of the wall back to back, just due to how implausible it is.
Oh my god, Jordan.
Fugitives. The second chapter is where the game starts to get fun. Well, the second half of it, which is the bulk. The opening escape part isn't very fun. It features an escape like Dragon's Lair, just not as hard, a pretty standardly bad stealth section, and then the first choice of the game. There are a few. A more safe and civilized route with Vincent, and then a more dangerous and criminalized route with Leo. My friend and I decided to go the Vincent route the first time, and then the Leo route on another playthrough. But, hey, here's a complaint. They all end in the exact same outcome. Here, you're supposed to cross a bridge either by going underneath it, unseen, or crossing it with a stolen police car. Vincent's Way gives a little parkour/puzzle sequence at the bottom of the bridge, which is actually quite enjoyable, while Leo's lasts 10 seconds and both have the exact same outcome. There is no difference between the two. Save your time and only play through it once, as playing as the other character or choosing different outcomes isn't worth it. Always go the Vincent Way. There's a Space Ace sequence with dogs that ends in a slow-mo moment, complete with a bad introduction of a bad guy that shows how bad he is, and finally, it gets good. There's a tiny camp sequence of catching fish, which is a decent, tiny section. And after an overly long cutscene, we're given the moment of truth. after a really dumb reference to Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Oh, it's a reference to goddamn Brothers. Nice.
Number 8.
An open area environment to explore together. After going Vincent's route of letting out the horses because Leo's is short and stupid, it doesn't make any sense. How the hell do these two get out of the ropes? They push the stretcher down and call cops like 3 minutes. It takes us to repair the car. You're given a little farm to explore. Hilarity ensues with music playing, a petting zoo, horseshoes, trying out hats, and a little bit of brain power. Sure, the puzzles of this game are the lowest of the low IQ-wise, but they can be entertaining on a first go. This is where A Way Out shines. Fucking around with a friend in a digital playground, laughing at the stupidity and enjoying one another's company. The following 2 sequences switch it up and showcase the versatility that it has a 50-50 batting average on. The car sequence is very fun, one fending off cops and the other driving. It's short and sweet. The boat sequence is also fun. Communication is key and it can be nerve-wracking. It's disappointing that it all ends off with a shitty action movie slow-mo shot. Again? Nice.
Nice.
Preparation. The 3rd chapter is also good, featuring Leo's neighborhood, a construction site, a store robbery, a gun range, another hitman, and a hospital sequence. It's easily the biggest chapter in the game. And the minigames are still the best part. In the last chapter we had a rhythm game and horseshoes, but in this we've got batting, darts, arm wrestling, Connect 4, and some goddamn wheelchair balancing. Competing with Jordan was fun as fuck, yelling at each other and getting a real kick out of it. Leo's neighborhood is another small playground with a little baseball minigame and adds in some larger story elements involving his family. But it isn't that effective, especially when the game is kinda broken. These problems are evident throughout the entire game, but the biggest one was in this section.
No.
This is the life we chose.
The construction site features another useless choice that changes nothing, but the best Dragon's Ace sequence is here as well, chasing after a contact that knows where Harvey is with both characters chasing him at different points. It's pretty cool. Sure, it makes no sense how they don't catch him sooner, but yeah. There's a top-down section that once you communicate can be completed in moments, and an interrogation which is just useless as it always ends in the same result. There's a trophy where you end up killing the guy, but you can't actually go that way as if it's just a dream or some shit. Basically just another excuse for the entire story to play exactly the same. Robbing the convenience store takes about 2 minutes, and Vincent's Way offers maybe 4 other little things to play with, but they don't matter. Here you're also given the info that you're unable to shoot anyone other than the bad guys at the end, despite these 2 characters being criminals. It doesn't make sense that you can't alter the game in this way, but again, whatever. There's now a guns section, and hey, cover shooter time, didn't expect it, did ya? Well, it's bad. Doesn't feel that bad here as you're not attacking actual AI, just moving bottles. There are different kinds of guns that are the most basic that you can think of. A fully automatic SMG, a burst M16, a marksman rifle, and a shotgun. Only one person can have a certain gun at a time, but it doesn't really matter when the gunplay sucks this bad. Next. An assassin! It's such a tiny bit that's really not fun outside of a gimmick or two that makes it somewhat okay. And it doesn't make real sense why this hitman is slow and such a bad shot despite Harvey claiming he's the best of the best.
I was not supposed to come up here, sorry.
And the hospital is pretty okay. Sure, it's just a small little explorable area that isn't as fun as the farm from Chapter 2 with a lot of dialogue options, but also has Connect 4 and wheelchair balancing, so suck it. Then, gasp again, Vincent gets to see his kid, and the penultimate animated Don Bluth Adventure QuickTime event game section is here. It's unique in how it cuts from player to player, featuring a super bare-bones beat-em-up with Leo, and perhaps the dumbest thing this game has to offer. A slow-mo section of Leo being shot by 21 different cops all at once, and not taking a single scratch. It's laugh-out-loud stupid. Vengeance. It starts off fine with a tiny little playground that features an arcade game that's kind of bullshit but somewhat fun, a second dose of darts, and it's honestly probably the last good part of the game, because the rest is just cover shooter and the ending. You have your last option here with either parachuting or going through a jungle. And it's the only choice where either route is fine and actually results in gameplay. The parachuting is alright and at least different, but nothing, you know, really to write home about. And using machetes to get through a little damp area is even worse. And then there's the cover shooter. I don't really like cover shooters. I remember having fun playing Gears of War 3 on my Xbox 360 a tiny bit for the tiny bit I played it. I've been meaning to check out the Uncharted series, and I didn't dig the Division beta shit like 4 years ago. And I still don't dig them, and this game didn't change my perception, especially since it's done so bad. There's no sense of ammo conservation, as it's infinite. The enemies have no personality and feel like ragdolls. The guns feel lifeless. It lasts way too long, and more and more and more. It's just bad. And it sucks is this is how Harvey, still a super still bad guy though, dies. In a cover shooter pretty much. And then a motorcycle part. They control like trash. Every turn is like a 90-degree turn, and your characters have so much health that it feels like there's no urgency. This is also the only part where my game actually crashed. And it ends with another slow-mo part. Nice! Conflict. I'm gonna spoil the ending. Sorry for the -3 people that wanted to play it, but Vincent is a cop. Yeah. It reaches that level of cliche. And it's funny, because he's Vincent Moretti in real life, and Vincent Moretti is an undercover cop. Because his wife says, oh, this is Carol Moretti, I'm pregnant, I'm good about my baby, I'm all alone, blah, blah, blah. You don't see his fucking tombstone. And the cops call him Vincent, and so, basically, I'm saying that his real name is Vincent Moretti, whatever. Nice guys. Anyway, so Leo freaks out, and you suddenly have to fight the person you've been playing with the whole time. There's a car sequence, there's no meaning other than dialogue, there's a boat versus gun part, that's probably the best here, and finally a cover shooter versus part. That's, you know, not good. My friend and I wanted to only go one route because we thought it mattered giving a new ending depending on the choices, but it didn't. There's no way that the other one can survive. One person has to die, and then their screen fades to black. Nice. And the endings both suck. Who cares? It's just, you know, hey, it's happy for one person, but, you know, it's melancholy because it's like, oh, the other person's dead, blah, blah, blah. It's not good having two people that are playing together suddenly have to fight each other with bad gameplay. It's just, the game's not set up for it. Who cares?
You can just drop him.
I'm definitely surprised, though, how others have appreciated and even loved this game. I'm not surprised that it is pretty true that it's fun as hell to play with one another. But playing through it a second time is something I'm assuming a lot of players don't do, and it definitely lowered my score. Finding out that all the options are basically the same and that they lead to the same outcomes is just a huge letdown. Even the Black Ops 2 campaign has more variation when it comes to choices, with those extra missions, and spoilers for a Call of Duty campaign, the absence of certain characters for the last few missions, like Harper. And, as said before, you're not playing around in the playground, sections can be completed under 5 minutes, and cutscenes take up so much and can't be skipped. You'll have 15 minutes of cutscenes, a minute of gameplay, and another cutscene. It's like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh my god.
Still, hard to believe that you, of all people, are
Jonathan, dude, why was he chosen?
All I've been doing this entire video is taking a fat shit on a little title that most people today probably don't care about, but I have to admit, it's not absolute trash. If it was a single player game like Brothers is, I would hate it, and it might be around a 2 out of 10. But letting me play with a friend made it worth it. The amount of laughs had is worth the price of admission.
What?
Do those things balance?
Yeah.
The graphics aren't all that bad, the playground levels can be a lot of fun, and the amount of variation is commendable, although not always executed to the fullest. It's not worth $30 or $15 at all, but it's serviceable.
Yep. This game's a 5, Jonathan.